Hamburg, Germany, and Saxon's Eagle sets off across the continent to the UK for the first time in decades.
We wanted to bring the Eagle in for a festival in the UK, and Steelhouse seemed to be the festival to do it on, really.
After a gruelling 1,200-kilometre journey, the Eagle finally lands in the Welsh valleys.
Everybody was excited about doing this gig on a mountain in Wales. And I thought, well, yeah, it's got to be cool, and we're going to have the Eagle.
Well, here we are in Wales, Steelhouse Festival. Up the top of the mountain, sun shining, very nice.
It was a really nice festival, actually. It was, you know, nice area, nice place to be in. I mean, I must admit, when we were going up there, I thought, where the hell are we going?
Everything is ready for the Eagle to make its UK festival headlining debut. Now, the only thing that could cause a problem could be rain and a nasty case of the tom tits. Uh-oh.
I was like sick. I was really not very well.
So who's got the stomach bug?
He has. But we were talking about in South America, we had it.
Everyone got it except for him.
I didn't get it.
But he didn't get it because he's got metal bowels.
You're next.
They've squeezed all the equipment on stage. The crew have been fantastic.
Stage is ready?
No,
we need 10 minutes for lights.
It's no problem.
Yeah.
It's nearly stopped raining as well.
It's great, isn't it?
It is.
It's getting cold.
We were thinking about keeping the flames on all night tonight so we're warm.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Playing behind a wall of flame all night.
Just leave them.
Look, the Olympic torch gone mad.
Are you looking forward to it?
I think so. I'm not looking backwards to it. That'll be later.
So how high does the drum riser go?
Well, he thinks it's going to go about 2.5 metres, but we've rigged it so it goes 5 metres.
I'm going to have my head sticking
So
out through
we
the
could
top of the roof.
put a hole in the top of the stage, in the top of the roof, so it goes right out. You just see his legs. And there's an 11 o'clock curfew. Is that for the sheep then, or the cows?
Well, isn't
We just wondered, we're on top of a fucking hill in the middle of nowhere. You got, oh, you got an 11 o'clock curfew. We're like, huh? What? It's good to bring the Eagle Roar to the UK, and we haven't had it here. Everybody sees it in Europe, but we never bring it. Could we never get offered the headline slots?
Drenched by the Welsh rain and ably warmed up by the temperance movement, FM, Anvil and others, the crowd are now moist with anticipation for the headliners. They know it's going to be a great show. Saxon always delivers on stage. They are 5 musicians at the top of their game. But what makes them tick? Biff Byford is the undoubted leader and driving force behind Saxon, but being the leader means you have to stand up and be counted.
He's the motivating force, as anybody who ever listens to anything we do can tell.
He can be quite blunt if he wants, but you know, eventually you get to suss that out, and a lot of it's bluster.
He likes to stand up and make sure that you hear what he's got to say. He's been around, he's been up and he's been down through this business. He likes to share, you know, the experience of what it's all about.
We're all a bit blooming daydreamerish, and Biff is very sharp. I mean, we're all sharp sometimes, you know, but Biff seems to be on it all the time. I think he's quite driven by it, you know, by the whole kind of Saxon machine.
He's good at getting you to do what you do best.
I suppose I'm the front man of the band, so you know, the attitude and the what Saxon stand for tends to flow from me, as far as talking and singing and doing interviews and things. So you know, I'm the leader of the band, obviously, and I think the guys are quite happy with that.
Biff has been the glue holding the band together for over 3 decades.
In 2014, 35th anniversary from the first album, which is a good milestone, and we've had some great times, you know, up and downs and things. And I suppose it all first started in a coal mine, you know, way back in the days, really, when I used to sit and play my bass guitar, you know, to myself, jamming. I didn't work at this coal mine, but I worked at one just about 2 miles over the valley. You know, one of the only places where you could earn good money in the sort of 70s, 60s and 70s. I went on the face for a while, but the face, what they call the face, that's where the coal is, was only 3 foot high, which is like, you know, just under a metre. So they sort of said I was too tall for that. So then I spent a bit of time on the conveyor belts, pressing buttons, and you know, and pressing stop buttons and go buttons. And then they said, "Oh, we have a job for you in the boiler room, you know, stoking the fires for the steam engine," which I went for that straight away. So I used to work permanent nights. So there I'd be with my bass guitar, learning how to play it, and you know, shoveling coal onto this huge fire most of the time. So that's really where I first started to. You know, play music really on the night shift in the coal mine, you know. I was able to sort of sing at the top of my voice when nobody could hear me, you know, because it was like, it was either the bellows going full bore for the boilers or the weaving sheds going really crazy. So, you know, I think all the banging and smashing together, quite industrial, you know, so, you know, and I did like the heavier type of music as well, you know. I was more into the sort of guitar-based rock music, really.
If Biff is the Saxon warrior leading the band, Paul Quinn is the six-string sorcerer adding the magic.
He is a super, really talented guitarist, and he talks with his guitar. He talks very little, really. He talks everything, talks with his music.
I think he's a bit of a misunderstood genius, I think, Paul. I think a lot of people think he's a bit of a nutcase, but...
We all think kind of Paul's from Planet Quinn in a nice way, but Paul is a clever and interesting guy with some odd quirks. But in all the years we've been working together, we've never clashed.
When you hear him playing his guitar on stage, he's very emotional and he loves improvising solos and stuff like that. And that's how I see him. He just doesn't need to say very much. You just hear him play, and you kind of hear how he is and what's been happening to him over the last few years with the band when you hear him play on stage, and it sounds great.
You know, he's a lovely guy. I've been with him a long time. It's infuriating to live with, but you know, that's okay.
He's fun. He's a quiet guy. He's two people in one body. You know, if you meet him off stage, you can't imagine the being he'll become when he's on stage.
I see Paul as a metal blues man. He's like on a journey who's churning out fantastic guitar riffs.
I find his guitar solos absolutely blistering, so...
He's one of the most influential guitarists in metal, a position he's achieved despite battling a disability.
I'm virtually blind in one eye. It's a scarred retina from maybe mumps or one of those things, German measles or something. Nobody knows. I've been checked at Moorfields, and until they develop a bionic connection fully, there's not a lot of point trying to get it sorted out.
So does that influence the way you approach music or the stage or anything like that?
I have to look around a lot. I used to spin the guitar, and when I used to have to look, or if I didn't look, I would uppercut Biff with the guitar going that side. I mean, it looks like a lazy eye, basically, but it's more than lazy, it's bloody asleep.
Paul started his musical career in a youth club in his hometown of Barnsley.
I started playing with this band in this building here, which is where I played my first show. Then as a rhythm player, but you know, I obviously had to practice a bit more to be a lead player. The hilarious thing is how the gear would get transported between gigs, because a lot of amateur bands just use buses. So to get your gear under the stairs on a route master was quite hilarious. I think I'd have to blame the fact that you know, the first band that I ever saw doing their own material, although they started with covers, was the Beatles, and that opened up so many avenues for other acts. When I heard Clapton play, it led me into all the blues, the black blues guitarists that influenced him I think really it started with him in the Yardbirds because not only was there him, there was Jeff Beck, there was Jimmy Page, and I mean, what a direction to follow. There's three great players who are rechanneling blues there. And then I heard Hendrix and I thought, what is he doing? I can't understand this. It's so good.
But Paul has now developed his own unique style.
I tend to be on my own wavelength now because I've made an amalgam of styles of other people into mine. Hopefully. You know, if occasionally I might stray into a quote of Hendrix or Beck. The first beat of the bar is where a normal guitarist will start his solo. I'll start anywhere but the one. So it turns the whole solo back on itself.
Okay, Mr. Quinn, take them back to the Middle Ages.
Wales! Let's see your fucking hands in the air!
As Lords of the Realm in Barnsley, Biff and Paul take a stroll down memory lane.
So, we're looking for the out part of the Civic. So I reckon it's round here, isn't it? Somewhere?
Well, that's old.
That's new. This is old.
No, that's new.
Let's go down and have a look.
That's new, that's old.
I don't know, I can't remember that bit. We used to play at the Centenary Rooms, must have been up there somewhere. We reckon. We used to play here in the 70s, wasn't it? 70, what dates? The first?
5, I think.
Yeah, 75. Oh, son of a bitch days, yeah.
We were self-promoted and we used to get lots of posters stuck up around town.
Yeah, we made our own posters. We nicked a silkscreen printing setup from the local college. And we borrowed it and never took it back. Actually, I think we used to have a guy that managed us for a while that owned a record shop. Didn't we?
Chris
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, we did. We had a guy that managed us for a while that owned a record shop. So we used to get quite a few shows here. But mostly this was our local gig for coming to see bands. This and a pub in Sheffield called the Black Swan is where most of the bands used to play.
Good, strong Yorkshire tea wasn't the only kind of leaf the pair were partial to back in those days.
Getting quite stoned one night and swapping instruments, that was quite funny.
Yeah, the Stone story. Yeah, we don't tell many drug stories, do we? We used to, we smoked quite a bit of dope in the early days and all shared a flat together. It was a bit crazy. And this particular night, we were headlining the Centenary Rooms. It was a big night for us. It wasn't Son of a Bitch, though. It was a three-piece band called Coast. And we were absolutely stoned. Went on stage, started playing, and we thought we were doing fantastic, didn't we? It was brilliant, brilliant sound. And the audience started slow hand clapping. And I looked round, I hadn't even turned my fucking guitar on. I thought it was so loud.
I turned mine down to number 1 because it was too loud.
Exactly. And the drummer was giving us like death looks. And I was playing my Rickenbacker. I thought it sounded great. I looked round, it was off. So it wasn't one of our best gigs, was it?
No, the arrangements weren't to cock.
No. So, all the audience heard was the drums and me singing. The other time I did it was with Son of a Bitch we were in Blackpool, I think. And we were smoking before the show, and I don't know what we were smoking, but it was really strong. And we were 2 songs in. I just walked off stage and went up the stairs and onto the beach. And I could hear the band playing in the distance, and I just didn't connect to it. About 15 minutes later, I came back. Thought I better go back now, and went back down, and Graham Oliver was doing a 10-minute version of The Hunter, waiting for me to come back. And I think I was probably crying. I can't remember. I was really fucked up on it. And it sort of turned me off smoking before shows a little bit. We didn't do it again, did we?
No.
Ever. It so messes up so much. Just couldn't handle it. I was like tripping on it. It was really weird.
747, Strangers in the Night.
While the twin guitars provide the lightning flash in the Saxon storm, it's Nigel Glockler who gives the heavy metal thunder.
I think he's got better in his old age. I think he's a much better drummer now. I mean, his drum solo, he could be 18. You know, it's relentless, his drumming, and he's such a powerhouse. We call him the engine room.
Amazing player, good mate. He's got a lot of independence tricks, Nigel, and he kind of throws quite a lot into a rock gig that you would expect not to fit, but it works okay. He's interesting to listen to, which is fortunate. He's not a slugger as such, although he does hit hard.
Nigel is very English. He's funny, and he's got a huge knowledge of music. He's quite a comedian, Nigel.
Seems to be at one with himself nowadays. I think that's because he's found a great partner. He's full of positivity and a great inspiration, definitely, for me, as far as the music goes.
Nigel's background is completely different to the original band members. Instead of learning his craft down a mine or in a rundown youth club, he honed his music skills in his very own version of Hogwarts in Brighton.
This is where I went to school. Sat over there in the choir, and yeah, I guess I was here till I was 18. We didn't have any girls then when I was here, but no, it was great fun. We got up to all sorts of mischief, but no, it was good. A lot of sport and a lot of music was going on here too. My mum and dad worked their asses off, basically, so my brother and me could come here. That's all there is to it. You know, they weren't from any particular sort of high-class background. They just worked hard, and that was it. And they wanted what I guess they thought was the best education for me and my brother. There's an armoury out there, and we had about 300 rifles down there, machine guns, all sorts. And we had to go down every week, clean our rifles and stuff, and every year we had to do, under army conditions, a proper, firing range thing. I was a marksman, so I was quite pleased with that. I started playing drums when I was 7 years old. I suppose a big influence on me when I was taking it seriously was someone like Bill Ward, because I think Black Sabbath was probably the second ever gig I went to see on the Masters of Reality tour at the Dome. And I'd never seen a drummer hit a drum kit as hard as that. I was like, whoa.
This one's from the Metalhead album. Features Nigel back here. Scott Conquest to go. Waiting for the stories to o'clock Rogers!
Every rock band has to have its resident nutty party animal bass player. In Saxon, that role is filled by Nibs Carter. At least it was until recently.
You've got Nibs, who's the ultimate nutcase, and you know, everybody who's ever met Nibs knows he's a heavy drinker, a heavy party man, and you know, he's the nutcase of the band.
Consummate musician and consummate drinker.
Hyperactive animal. He's a bit of a party animal, likes to stay out. I don't know how he does it, because sometimes he goes to bed so late, and I don't know, me, after a gig, I'm out of it, that's it, bang.
Nibs is a lunatic, but he's not really. He's a family guy, and then he's a fun guy to be with.
What's he like to drink with?
Forget it. Don't try to compete, I would say.
We've all enjoyed good drink sessions together. On the tour bus, it's always good fun. Recently, though, we did a gig on a ship, and it was somewhere between Sweden and Finland, and it was a great gig. I remember we played around, I don't know, 9 o'clock till 11 or something. I had too much to drink. Nothing over the top, but just falling asleep. Obviously exhausted, and the next day we were supposed to port somewhere in Finland, and then get up absurdly early, about 5:30 or something like that, and then take a cab to an airport, fly from Finland to Germany, and then that night do a gig in front of cameras for the German TV, and there was a boxing match. The boxer was to come on through us onto the stage and into the ring and blah blah blah. But I wasn't there. I was somewhere in the ship, and they couldn't find me, and I would imagine it was probably pretty scary and a pain in the arse, actually.
Nibs prayed to the gods of metal to deliver him to the gig, and he arrived with minutes to spare.
Basically, we just decided we should probably try it without the booze for a while and see what happens. And since then, I've just decided, you know, we can do it without, and you know, but you know, that's the way it goes, and it feels really good for me.
Here's another song from the new album. Wheels of Carry This Out. Purpose is your defeat.
Doug Scarrett brings a frenetic energy and breakneck speed on the fretboard to the band, but offstage he's surprisingly placid.
He's a very sort of calm, laid-back guy, and he plays brilliant guitar. And it's totally different guitar to what Paul plays, which makes it quite unique. Paul's more of a sort of schizophrenic blues, and Doug is more sort of, I'll say, Doug is much more soulful player, I think.
Ooh, Doug, an amazing player, a good mate. He's a very fast player, and he plays fast quite a lot.
He wants to show people you don't have to look like a metal warrior to be in a metal band. Dougie wants to be himself, dress and look the way he feels like, and play superb guitar on stage in a rock band.
Doug, well, I've known Doug a long time, so I'm not going to say anything about him. Except when are we going for the next pint?
I think he's maybe the artistic one of the band, you know. He's the one that always goes off to look at museums and art galleries. Me and him go off a lot together, looking around towns and finding places, you know, and go shopping a lot.
We do a duel in denim and leather, but it's not actually speed for speed. It's more like Doug plays and then I play. And then he plays and I play. And I at that point in the gig, I try to be as weird as possible, just to show how weird I can be.
I was born in Hove. I've always lived in Hove. This is where I've lived for the last 16 years. It's not massive, but it's nice, and we're very near to the sea. You know, it's a great place to live. I love it here. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I think I've got 18 guitars now. I know people with a lot more. This is actually one of my favourite Les Pauls. Although it doesn't have a trim on it, but I love this guitar. I used to stare at these in shop windows when I was a teenager and just dream that one day I would own one. I've got a few others now as well. I was a huge fan of Paul Kossoff, and it was just that iconic look of Kossoff with his Les Paul and the hair. You know, when you're a teenager, those things are really important to you, aren't they? So that was one of the first times I noticed how beautiful Les Pauls were. So when I finally owned one, I went for one that looked a bit like the one that Kossoff played. Mm-hmm. I was 13 when I first, got my first guitar. I went to see Robin Trower, a guitarist that I'd just heard of. I didn't play at the time, and that was kind of the sort of life-changing thing for me. I saw so many bands at the Dome after that. I mean, it was like, that was my drug then, it was an absolute addiction. I'd just go and see anything. And then and now I'm basically a music lover, so I was into Sabbath, Zeppelin, Floyd, progressive rock music. Funnily enough, me and Nigel found we were at the same gigs a lot, even though he's a bit older than me. Before we even met, we were like, oh, I was at that gig, yeah.
Although Saxon have released 20 original studio albums in their 35 years, they are essentially a live act, one of the best in the world. They are true warriors of the road.
They've always been a consistently brilliant live band, and I think that when people buy a Saxon ticket, you know, their fans know what they're going to get. They know that they're going to get a full 90 minutes plus set of energised rock and roll. They just make it a fun evening for a punter, really. It's simple as that. There's not very many rock bands left that can produce the same amount of energy and power as they do 35 years after they began, for sure. They show the men from the boys. They know how to play.
We do work hard, and we do a full-on 100% show. Actually, we push ourselves and our body as far as we can really on shows.
Sometimes, you know, if we start changing around, so do you want a slow song or a fast song? And I'm going, oh, Christ, not another bloody fast one. Give me a rest, really, please.
Going out with loads of people, playing your favourite tracks, it's brilliant. You know, it really is the best adrenaline kick that you'll get.
You know, we're not the sort of band that will just play one show, you know, to like 4,000 people. We like to travel and take the music to the people, really. So you'll see us playing shows with 4,000, and you'll see us playing shows with 600. You know, it's it's all about the experience of you know, the audience and the band, really, that's important to us. We do really gel together on stage live.
Biff is the man leading the charge of the Saxon Warriors, shaping the music and direction. So what are his influences?
The Beatles were around when I was like young, but I was really more into the sort of, you know, like the Rolling Stones perhaps would be more my cup of tea. Obviously Zeppelin when they came along, but you know, the Kinks and people like that I quite like. You know, I quite like that sort of look, and you know, the guitar orientated riffs. You know, you really got me, and you know, Tired of Waiting, all that sort of stuff. I really like that simplistic but great way of playing. So I think that sort of, you know, that captured my early attention was the guitar-based songs, you know. And I suppose that, you know, those bands were heavier than the pop bands were at that time, because it was all, you know, distorted guitars. Writing and playing music was what interested me. I was never really into covering, you know, being in a cover band. And to tell you the truth, I was never in a cover band, which is quite lucky for me, I think. You know, the first band we were in, we were like you know, I was in a three-piece, and we were more like Cream, you know, just jamming and occasionally chanting a few words here and there, but most of the time we were just jamming away, really, you know, learning and improvising. So I suppose that improvisation leads you on to writing songs. If you can improvise, then you can write a song, because it's the same process, you know. That works, doesn't it? Yeah, I like that. I think we've got this snapped on the front here, yeah?
Yeah.
We could maybe put some keyboards on it.
Yeah, what kind though?
I don't know.
Pad or like...
Well, just pads.
Yeah.
Don't listen. Perhaps.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought you meant like doing that like...
No.
Pads. Okay.
I'm writing some songs for a solo album that I'm going to do probably next year, and we're writing songs for a Saxon album as well, so we're doing two things at once, and I'm probably going to sing on a couple of other projects that I'm listening to at the moment. So we're pretty busy, actually.
We only really write things, to be honest, that we like ourselves. You know, so that's our only benchmark. If we get off on it and it fires Biff, then we'll use it. Paul suddenly will come out with some nuts, super speed metal riff, you know, and yet he's quite a blues-based player, you know, so sometimes Paul will just come up with a really nice AC/DC style 3-chord thing that's like you've heard a million times, but it's got another slightly different quirk to it, and we like it, you know. And then the other way around, you know, sometimes I'll come up with some simple 3-chord riff.
I was always listening to people like Return to Forever. It's a fusion, you know, jazz fusion. So Lenny White and all these people. And so I tried to bring a bit of that into what I do, rather than otherwise I think you're just going on one level. Everyone's copying everyone else. And so I try and bring a different sort of dimension into the stuff.
We're all very capable of going in a lot of different directions, but we don't allow ourselves to do that. Me, Paul Nibbs, Nigel, and Biff actually, you know, we've sometimes started working on things that are actually, I think, good, but we just think, no, it's never going to work for Saxon.
Luckily, we all see what the band needs, and we're all happy to say, OK, let's go with that and jump on it, and then bring our own experiences into, you know, translating that into a riff from 5 points of view, if that makes any sense.
What do you want us to play? Okay, I can hear a few. The band's played on. Motorcycle Man. All right, the band's played on, eh?
Before joining Saxon, Nigel Glockler honed his art playing the rock circuit in Brighton.
I got asked to join sort of what was then the best sort of Brighton pro band, which was a band called Krakatoa. So then I turned pro. And our keyboard player was Hans Zimmer, who does all the film music. We used to do pretty good. We'd come over and, you know, sell a town hall out in somewhere like Carmarthen or something, you know, and we used to play what was one of our favourite gigs was the Frenchman's Motel in Fishguard. There was one there. We used to pack that out. But it was the time of, you know, 76, 77, and it was the new wave punk thing, and record companies weren't interested in bands like us. We had a really bad smash up on the M6. I mean, it was a surprise that no one actually got killed. And we got rammed up the backside by an Arctic. The driver had gone to sleep. And basically our van, we were going like that, our van ended up like that. And all the front was gone, buried upside down. It was gone, and the police said normally that would just be a bloodbath. But we all got out. I mean, people were injured, but we got out. When I thought after that, God, why am I doing this? Is this what being pro is? I'd only done 3 gigs. You know, speaking to, you know, Biff and Paul and everything, it's funny because they were on the same circuit that we were, which is fun, like Middlesbrough Rock Garden and places like that. In fact, I think Krakatoa did a gig at a college, and I think I found out from Biff that they were downstairs or something in another.
Nigel eventually took Pete Gill's place on the Saxon drum stool, but it wasn't always easy to stay on that stool.
Gilly did a fast roll round the drum kit at the beginning of Motorcycle Man, and I didn't used to do it. And the guy said, "Oh, we need that, Phil. You've got to do it. So sound check." I thought, right, and I think I had 8 toms or something like that, you know, starting from all the little ones. I thought, I'm going to get the whole lot in this fill. So we started, and I started this ridiculously fast fill, and I just kept going, and I couldn't stop. And basically, I flew off the drum riser at the back, went down, the monitors fell on top of me and everything, and I just ended up in the heap. Literally, it was just momentum carried me over the thing. That, you know, that was...
Being a southern posh boy, Nige didn't immediately fit in with the roughly hewn Yorkshire band.
Actually, when I first joined the band, you know, it was sort of, I was a middle-class southern twit, you know, and then I had this, because of the accent, I guess, it was sort of, they all used to, I mean, Graham, Biff and Steve used to sort of act like C-3PO, you know, from Star Wars, sort of, oh, no, 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 that was me, you know. But, you know.
Things haven't always gone smoothly for Saxon. Forget band infighting, there's been another film made about all that. These are the little problems that remind a band that they're still only human. Sometimes things even went a bit too smoothly.
New York Palladium, me and Dawson running to the front while the dry ice is all wet stage. Tried to stop, couldn't, ended up sliding forward on our bums. You know, it's like, not sequence, but formation sliding.
Setting Bruce on fire, my tech. Definitely, that's definitely got to count as one. I will never, ever forget his face. We started the Flaming Drumsticks thing, and the idea was to just use it in my solo. I mean, you can't hit drums with it. I mean, you go straight through the skin, you know, because it'll melt. But, you know, trash around a few cymbals and stuff like that with the lights out and everything. And so I worked it out with my tech and everything. And I think one night I sort of panicked a bit. And, you know, I had this certain area where I'd change it over. And I just went, oh, like this. And turned around, and he was sitting there, and these flames were just coming up because he was using lighter fluid. And he had a towel on the floor where it was dripping on to, of course, and the thing hit the lighter fluid and whoosh. You know, I just turned around literally, and he was sitting there like, and these flames were just, I'll never, ever forget that face, ever.
The second Donington was my worst moment in this band because, you know, we flew in from Dallas. We were like massively jet lagged. And we were like thrown on stage while people were checking things, and I just knew that before we went on, it wasn't going to be a great day for the band. I just knew it, and we went on, and you know, I think a lot of people in the audience loved the show. Don't get me wrong, the audience were great, but I just sensed that you know, we shouldn't have been there at that particular point in our career. I think we should have not flown in from Dallas and then flown back to New York. I think we should have said no and done it another year. So it would have been better for us.
I've had pneumonia twice on tour, which has been a bit of a thing. I mean, we had on the Cheap Trick tour, I ended up being wheelchaired to the stage a few times with an oxygen mask on. You know, that was, at the time I thought, oh God, why am I doing this? You know, but, you know.
It was during the mid-80s that Saxon decided to try a different look.
We were being told, you know, you've got to do this by the management. I think really we should have said, no, we're not doing that. You know, we are, you know, like the song Denim and Leather, that's what we're about, you know. But all these hair bands were coming out, like Poison, and, you know, at the time Bon Jovi was a bit of a hair band, and our management thought that was the only way we could compete with them.
We'd sort of changed from a more of a biker image into a more sort of glossier image, and I think that was probably, you know, not the right thing to do.
Disastrous. It was stupid. I mean, I think it was stupid, really, because, but, you know, we were, all right, we weren't kids, but we were pretty naive. We went with it, unfortunately, and it didn't do us any good. I mean, still, I mean, that was just the image, though. I mean, still, musically, I think we were still, you know, heavy as whatever. You know, the live shows didn't change at all. The energy was there. It was just the look, which is a bit unfortunate. But never, hey, you know, that's, we did it. We own up to it. Surrender, you know. But what's the point of looking back? Blow it, you know. We're still here. A lot of bands that were at that era have gone.
But it wasn't all fun and games, and setting fire to roadies, and wearing makeup. Don't forget, Saxon have produced some of the most enduring heavy rock ever to hit your eardrums.
I suppose the crowning moment for us as a British band would be the second, third, fourth and fifth album. All great albums and all sold well around the world. I suppose it's a bit like, you know, Iron Maiden have the same thing, don't they? They have the same 3 or 4 massive albums, and same with Def Leppard. So, you know, I think bands like us, if we have a massive period of writing songs, then those songs keep the band alive forever. That's the secret. The songs.
And it was those songs that helped form the musical direction of a teenager destined to become a driving force in Saxon.
When I first started comprehensive school, I was just getting into hearing Saxon, the sound of 747, Strangers in the Night. I could hear that on the radio, and that was a big influence for me. 1980, midday radio, you could hear Saxon on the radio, and that was for me like a doorway open. You know, there you are. This is the kind of music that you should be listening to, and that was a big influence on me. So I would go out and buy those singles. I stole my sister's moped, and I was about 12 or 13, and I just like rode off on it and found noise coming out of this rehearsal room or something, dressing room for a football team or something in Cleethorpes, and they were in there, my mate Russ and Pix, one of them on an electric guitar, one of them on a drum kit, and yeah, I said, wow, give us a go on that guitar, and my mate said, give us a go on your sister's bike, and like he went off racing off on my sister's moped, and I carried on playing guitar. First time I'd ever picked up an electric, but you just strum it, and sometimes it sounds crap, and sometimes it sounds great, and it sounded great. And from then on, we just started, I went out the next day, bought a bass guitar, £40, and, you know, I just thought it was the best thing in the world. I ended up like falling into being a recording bass player in a studio. I bumped into like Motorhead's guitarist at that time, Eddie Clark. This is like 1986, 87, 88 and 89. They came in 2 or 3 times with a band called Fastway, and so I know Eddie quite well, and did a couple of albums with him. And Bernie Marsden came through there, did a track with him. Don Airy, he was on those Fastway sessions as well. But all kinds of stuff came through there. So anything and everything from classical to blues, pop, mostly rock though, coming through that studio.
Nibs wasn't the only up-and-coming musician to be influenced by Saxon.
I did like Saxon more than I liked Maiden, really. I was really pleased when Saxon covered Ride Like the Wind, because I I really like that song, and I thought somebody should do a rockier version of it. Well, as you can see, I've got guitars stashed away in every little corner of this place. My Fender Strat is here.
You don't tend to play many Strats, do you?
I do, but I want a weightier sound with Saxon. I use the Strat a fair bit in the studio. 4 under the bed, more in the hall. My favourite one's under here. This hasn't been out for a while. This Valley Arts guitar. It's like a Super Strat. I mean, I've had it pre-Saxon, actually. There's not very many of them around anymore. Smaller body than a normal Fender. It's had quite a bit of wear, as you can see. This is on probably not the last album, but on every other Saxon album. This has been one of the main guitars I've used, actually. This is a weird one. Has these self-tuning. Basically, the guitar tunes itself. You program in a chord, strum the strings, and it tunes itself. Live, it could be a bit of a nightmare because you've only got to be one click out and the guitar will tune itself to some chord you don't want. It's a very nice tone, this guitar though, particularly this P90 on the neck sounds fantastic. I don't think there is one guitar that does everything, especially when you're making an album. You need different shades and that works. The first 3 or 4 years of playing guitar I didn't have any lessons, I just sat at home, you know, somebody showed me how to tune it, mucked around with, didn't even know what a scale was really, or a chord was. That kind of came a bit later, but if it was in tune I could put a record on and kind of fiddle around to the record and try and work out some of the solos and play. And it went from there. I think I was about 15 or 16 when I really started to, you know, get somewhere with guitar and be able to play songs. I got my first professional gig when I was 25, and that was just in a chart cover band working in one of the Brighton clubs. But I loved it because I got paid. Yeah. But that was quite a good discipline because we had to learn new material all the time, and by then I could read chord charts and new scales, and you know. And soon after that I started to teach a bit. I mean, because I was working 3 nights a week in this club and it was great money, and so I had a lot of free time. So I stayed at home, fiddled with guitars and played and did a bit of teaching. It was a nice life, actually. The band before Saxon was the Desperate Dan Band, which was where I met Nigel. Nigel was the drummer in that band, but it had a kind of floating drummer situation where we had several different drummers, and Nigel was there if he was available and not out with Saxon. I had done quite a lot of studio work by then as well, and I started to be quite good at slotting in quite quickly into situations. That's how the kind of session thing happened, really. So I worked for these guys that were writing for various EMI artists and demoing with people, and there's a few studios that I nearly became the resident guitar player. Very similar to Nibs, actually, because Nibs was always working at Chapel Studios, and that's how Saxon found him there. So, I mean, I'd do anything that paid money.
Are there any guilty secrets from your session days?
You know there are, is that you're just pointing at that one. I'm not even going to say. I'm not going to say, but yeah, there are a few. I mean, I worked with kind of anybody that would pay, really. You know, so there's a few, and those of you who know me can find out for yourself. But I've been on Top of the Pops a couple of times. That was a marker for my parents that you know, that I'd finally succeeded.
So what was he like, David Hasselhoff?
Yeah, he was a friendly guy, actually. It was nice. I just did a handful of TV shows. At the end of '94, Nigel gave me a call to say that, you know, Graham had gone, and was I interested in auditioning for Saxon.
It's good to see so many young generation fans in tonight. Oh yeah. It's good to see some people from the 80s as well, huh? We're still here, right? Okay, doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. It's about the passion. This one's called Denim and Leather. Thank you. Let's get some headbanging going! You check us out down at the local show. Well, you're wearing denim, wearing leather. Did you run down to the front to get cool for your tickets through the ice and snow? Denim and leather, bottles all together. It was you that set the spirit free. Sing out! Bottles all together. The sun is spirit free. Hey, man! Come on! Yeah, yeah! Did you read the music papers from the back to the front? Did you find out where to see your favorite band? Did you listen to the radio every Friday night? Did you hang around your local record store? Damn! Leather! Bottles all together. You and still a sad spirit free. Damn! Leather! Bottles all together. You and still a sad spirit free. It's a number of stars on the guitar here! Mr. Paul, put you on the show! Just to get started here on my show! It was fucking wild! Saxon Chronicles!
As we stand now, we're probably the biggest we've been in the UK for quite some time. I think in Germany we've always been quite big, so you don't really see the difference, if you know what I mean. But in the UK we've definitely seen a difference in the last 4 or 5 years, without a doubt.
Part of that success is down to their loyal behind-the-scenes team, not least their agent Steve Strange. He's one of the most powerful movers and shakers in the live music world, acting for bands as diverse as Coldplay and Snow Patrol, to name but a few. Luckily, he's also a massive Saxon fan, as his first meeting with Biff didn't quite go according to plan.
Knocked the door of the dressing room. There was Biff on the phone with a towel round his head. And says, "Will you just all fuck off?" So that was my first introduction to Mr. Byford. We laugh about it a lot these days. I think it's gone incredibly well. In fact, to be honest, you know, in the last 3 to 4 years, especially on the last tour, we ended up having the best turnouts that Saxon have had in the UK probably in 20 years. For a band to do that after 35 years and consistently keep going throughout that whole time period, it's pretty amazing to say the least. This tour was based on the profile of where they are at present and from their new album. They need to keep that consistency going, and they just need to keep that energy going, which I can't see going away. We were at this Radio 1 Live thing one time, and half of Snow Patrol knew who he was, and were big fans because they listened to him, you know, in their, when they were kids, with their big brothers, basically was listening to Saxon and the likes of. And all of a sudden that day we were walking up to catering and Basement Jaxx come up to him and said, "Wow, you're Biff from Saxon. We're massive fans. We would love to at some point in time to actually do a remix of 747 Basement Jaxx style." So we never pursued that one, but I think it's definitely something that can be reminded to them at some point, but they were true fans.
Saxon remain true warriors of the road, and without question, one of the best metal acts on the planet. But the band don't let success go to their heads.
You can under-egg it sometimes. You can go, "Oh, you don't need to try anymore," but you do. It's a bit like soccer, you're only as good as your last match.
Never surrender, stand up and fight, you know. I think that theme flows through my life, you know, to never give up and always, stick to it. Even when your writing isn't as good as it used to be, or some of the members aren't great, to live with, I still think you have to keep going forward, trying. I think the buzz of being in a band is you've got the writing song, making the album, creating something. And then the other side of it, you've got the audience and playing live. And you're playing the songs that you've recorded. So, it's a great thing, really. And it's a great thing when people like your songs and obviously sing them back. Once you've had a taste of the excitement of playing in front of a lot of people, then I suppose that never leaves you and you just want it again or more of it.
As you taste adulation, you want more. It's a bit like money, but you don't see as much money as you see adulation.
You know, musically we're doing what we want, we enjoy it, and the fans seem to be liking it. I think the albums are getting better and better. As long as people want us to gig and tour, and as long as, we enjoy it, which we do, then we'll keep delivering the goods.
I don't see why we shouldn't continue. There's plenty of conquering to do.
It's a great privilege really to have done 35 years, and you know, a lot of our albums have been you know, considered to be some of the best rock albums made.
After 35 years of playing rock music, I'm glad to be still alive. That's a lot of head banging, people. Nod with me. Go on, nod.
This band have been together some time now, so we have there's a lot of chemistry within this band, and you know, I mean, some of the guys, you know, want to spend more time at home. Some of the guys, you know, want to go on the road. So, you know, we'll have to see how it goes. We want to thank the fans for you know, staying with us, and new fans for coming along and joining us on the journey. And you know, all the media really got behind us again, and it's great, really. You know, people really appreciate the work that we did in the 80s, and they still appreciate the work we do now. You know, and we're always trying to entertain ourselves. You know, we don't want to be boring. So that's a great. It's a great fire for us, that to always try and better our songwriting.
We're going to leave you with this song, Mr. Quinn. You're going to sing it with me! She used to be an iron horse 20 years ago. Used to bring the mail to me through the ice and snow. I sat alone and watched her singing through the night. 90 tons of thunder lighting up the sky. Princess of the ice. It's all around on the wall. She was the princess of the night. I can't go right across the sky. Speeding smokes like lightning, engine working hard.
It was a great gig. The audience stayed with us, so really we can't really, audience staying there in the rain. It's cool, really.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, actually. For a day of rain, really good atmosphere.
It had a great atmosphere.
All right.
What do you think of the show then?
That was good. Drum-wise, it was awesome.
You liked it? What about the flames?
Oh, the flames are cool.
Should have got some toast out.
Yeah, I know.
Really hot on stage, man. I was expecting one Paul or Doug to go on the box and get incinerated, man. It's like...
It's all right, yeah, nice.
You look like you were enjoying yourself. What was all about jumping down, getting close to the crowds with your solos?
They're too far away. It's always like that at festivals.
The city stood in smoke, blood from his face. It was a negative exercise.
They could do with some steps to get back up though, couldn't they?
I thought he did all right, actually.
Yeah, not bad, just one little stumble.
In a backwards roll, really.
Yeah, it was a bit of a Mick Jagger. He does that. He jumps up on his arse and then rolls backwards. He did do it once, rolled backwards, but he smashed his guitar, so he stopped doing it.
So Nibs, how's the stomach?
3 shits each song.
Saxon quilted.
Oh, bargain. Yeah, I'll have that then.
Yeah, you might come in handy.
I'll be back in a couple of days.
I'm going to get a pint now.
That's the end of that tale.